Let's start with random sampling. Each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Example of random sampling. Let's say you are conducting a study to determine the average height of high school students in a particular city. The city ay mayroong 10 high schools at bawat school na yon ay mayroong approximately 500 students. In this case, the population would consist of all high school students in the city. Para magawa natin yung random sampling, you would first assign a unique identification number to each student in the population. For example, mag-assume tayo na merong 5,000 students in total kasi yung 10 high schools mayroong 500 students per school. Next, you would use a random number generator or a table of random numbers to select a subset of students for your sample. Let's say gusto mo ng 100 students, you would generate or look up 100 random numbers within the range of 1 to 5,000 without any particular pattern or bias. So basically, ang random sampling is wala siyang bias kasi nga randomly mo lang siya pinili. Using these random numbers, yung nabanggit ko kanina, you would then select the corresponding students from the population. For example, if the random numbers you obtained were 246, 1,536, 3,725, and so on, you would select the students with the identification numbers 246, 1,536, 3,725, and so on, until you have a sample of 100 students. By using random sampling, you ensure that every student in the population has an equal chance of being selected for the sample. So, ang sinasabi dito ay, bawat student ay mayroong chance na mapili sila para maging sample sila. This helps to minimize bias and increase the generalizability of your findings to the entire population of high school students in the city. Random sampling is commonly used in various research studies and surveys to gather data that represents a larger population accurately.
Stratified sampling. The population is divided into homogeneous groups, strata, based on specific characteristics, and a sample is then randomly selected from each group. So halimbawa, isipin natin na may isang population ng mga mag-aaral na kumukuha ng isang kurso sa isang university. So yung mga mag-aaral na yon ay maaaring mahati sa iba't ibang stratum batay sa kanilang taon ng pag-aaral. Halimbawa, first year, second year, third year, at fourth year. So sa stratified sampling, yung university ay maaaring pumili ng isang random sample mula sa bawat stratum o grupo. Halimbawa, kung ang porsyento ng mga mag-aaral mula sa bawat taon ng pag-aaral ay 25%, maaaring kunin ng 25% ng mga mag-aaral mula sa first year, 25% mula sa second year, at yun din sa third year at fourth year. Sa pamamagitan ng pagkuha ng mga random sample mula sa bawat stratum, masisiguro na ang sample ay makakatawan sa buong population ng mga mag-aaral sa university.
Cluster sampling is a sampling technique used when it is impractical or inefficient to sample individuals from a population directly. Instead, the population is divided into groups or clusters, and a subset of clusters is selected for the study. Let's say you are conducting a survey on job satisfaction among employees in a large multinational company. The company has offices in multiple cities across the country, and each office has hundreds of employees. Instead of selecting individual employees as your sample, you decide to use cluster sampling. First, you would identify the clusters, which in this case would be the different offices of the company. Let's assume there are 10 offices in total. Each office represents a cluster. Next, you would randomly select a subset of offices to include in your sample. Let's say you divide to select 4 offices. You would use a random number generator or a table of random numbers to choose 4 offices from the list of 10. Once the offices are selected, you would collect data from all the employees within those selected offices. This means that all employees within each chosen office will be included in the sample. You could distribute surveys or conduct interviews with employees to gather information on their job satisfaction.
Convenience sampling, selection-based availability of participants, which may introduce bias into the sample. Kung ikukumpara ito sa iba pang diskarte sa samplings, ang convenience sampling ay isang mabilis at tuwirang paraan upang makakuha ng impormasyon. Ang simple at madali ay karaniwang mabuting kasosyo Ngunit upang malaman kung kailan ito gagamitin at kung kailan hindi, dapat mong malaman kung ano ito. Ito ay isang uri ng sampling na kadalasan na ginagamit sa mga siyentipikong pag-aaral dahil hindi ito umaasa sa pagkakataon. Ang diskarte sa sampling na ito ay nangangailangan sa pagpili ng paksa na simple para sa mananalisik na makipag-ugnayan. Ang convenience sampling ay pagsasagawa ng pagpili ng mga kalahok mula sa isang populasyon ng random kumpara sa mga gagawing pinakasimpleng pangongolekta ng data mula sa mananaliksik.
Ang systematic sampling ay isang pamamaraan para sa paglikha ng random na probability sample kung saan ang bawat piraso ng data ay pinipili sa isang nakapirming agwat para maisama sa sample. Halimbawa, kung nais ng isang mananaliksik na lumikha ng isang sistematikong sample ng 120 na mag-aaral sa isang universidad na may populasyong 1,200 na mga mag-aaral, kukunin niya ang mga listahan ng bawat seksyon sa paaralan at pipiliin niya ang bawat ikasampung tao mula sa isang listahan ng lahat ng mga mag-aaral upang maging participants sa isang research.
Now let's talk about snowball sampling. Ano nga ba ang snowball sampling? Snowball sampling or chain referral sampling. It is a non-probability sampling technique where a respondent is asked to refer another respondent for the study. For example, your target respondent for your study are people who are collecting old coins or paper bills. Kung mahirap i-access ang ating population, magandang gamitin ang sampling method na ito. Kapag may nahanap tayong respondent, sila na mismo ang magtuturo sa atin kung sino pa ang pwede nating pasagutan ng survey. Referral kumbaga. Pero kailangan natin i-ensure ang confidentiality dahil sila ay mga vulnerable population.